Broadcasting live from the Subaru of Gwinnett Studios in Atlanta, it's time for Gwinnett Business Radio, spotlighting business leaders in our area. Gwinnett Business Radio is brought to you by Veritech. Veritech, great people, remarkable service.
And hello again, everybody, and welcome to what we know will be another award-winning edition of Gwinnett Business Radio from the Subaru of Gwinnett Studio here at the beautiful Sonesta Gwinnett Place Atlanta Hotel. I am Mike Salmon alongside Stephen Julian. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Mike.
Always a pleasure to see you.
Always a thrill and a pleasure and an honor to be seated next to such an award-winning announcer as yourself.
Thank you very much.
That was not a joke.
Anyway, we've got a couple of great guests here in the studio.
No joking, we've got great guests.
Yes, and they just can't wait to talk to us. They probably can't wait to get out of here, but joining us from...
That's why we locked the door.
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
The doors are locked, folks.
Mike, before we get to our next guest, I just want to remind everybody that Gwinnett Business Radio does broadcast from the Subaru of Gwinnett Studios inside the beautiful Sonesta Gwinnett Place Hotel.
I could tell you that. It would take me a long time to tell you that, but I could tell you that.
Again, you'll get your award back
spit it out.
when you earn it back. But we are from the Subaru of Gwinnett Studios, and love is what makes a Subaru. Our listeners can get big savings and enjoy a hassle-free experience at Subaru of Gwinnett, where people, real people, sell real cars. Visit SubaruofGwinnett.com and join their family today. Come in to their car lot and see the difference. Maybe you're already a Subaruist, then you can follow Subaru of Gwinnett's Facebook page for the latest Subaru offers, news, and community events. Mike, it's spreading.
Calling the kettle black here is what you're
doing. It's a virus that's going through this studio.
Hopefully it doesn't spread to our next guest. You know, when the guests are speaking more eloquently and better than us,
it might be time to take a break.
Exactly. Elease Dillard with the Student Navigator is our next guest. Elease, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, she already sounds good. We're already in trouble.
Get to your question, quick. Yes. We've only got a few minutes left in the show.
The Student Navigator. What do you do? What's your company do?
Yes, so the Student Navigator, I graduated college debt-free, and so I founded the Student Navigator, where our mission is to make debt-free graduation the status quo, one student at a time. So we deal with strategy for scholarship acquisition, internships. Our team has lived it and done it, so they're getting that unique perspective and insight from those who've actually achieved it.
I just wanted to yell, liar, debt-free.
Yes.
I
did it.
You hear horror stories these days. Everybody's leaving college with debt. It's from just what days we were in college, Stephen. I mean, it's like triple what it is to go to college right now. I can't put my kids through college.
But believe it or not, actually 30% of students graduate debt-free. So oftentimes we think that because it's such a large number and we hear about college being so unaffordable that we think it's more like 1% or every blue moon, someone will graduate debt-free, but actually 30% of students graduate debt-free.
So how do you do this?
Yeah, I was going to say, what is the first step? Because I wonder how many responses you get like Mike's, where there's just silence and jaw-dropping and, come on, really?
Right.
So how do you get the conversation where people can go, okay, I'm with you, keep going. So where do we start?
It really also depends on the audience we're talking to, because we have parents that are interested in us. We have students more on the proactive end from high school or even as young as middle school. And then we have students that come to us who are in college and say, okay, I just finished my freshman year. I need help. And then, of course, individuals who are looking to pursue graduate school too, or doctorate degree. So we have all different stages. So it really just depends on where they are and how we can guide them.
That is such a political answer. No, I'm just kidding. So let's take, what is your biggest audience? Let me start it with that. Who are, I'm imagining it's not as many middle schoolers. It's more the junior, senior, so is that kind of the main, and the parents, are those the main audiences that you're talking to?
Yes. Our two main audiences are those on the proactive end, the high schoolers and the parents with the high schoolers, and then also college students who've experienced that debt already and want us to work with them moving forward.
Okay. So I'll go back to my question. Let's stay with that audience.
Yes.
Where do we start? What's the first thing that someone should do if they are seriously thinking about trying to get through college debt-free?
Okay, so if you're a high school student and you're on the proactive end, start applying for scholarships. Start now. A lot of students think that you have to be a senior in high school or a junior in high school to be eligible for scholarships, but there's scholarships on every level. And even when I tell parents, I know this isn't the major mark of high school, but there's scholarships on an elementary school level, middle school level. I, for one, won one in elementary school, so it's possible to do that. But the first step would be to start looking for scholarships and start applying now, and start looking at the schools, start identifying your potential schools that you're interested in, start looking at the cost for those, and start planning.
Are there better websites to look for scholarships, better resources to look for scholarships, or is that kind of a free for all?
Scholarship resources are free out there. So there's lots of great databases. You have scholarships.com, fastweb.com. One of my favorites is unigo.com, UNIGO. That's a great one. And they usually have them broken down based on categories. So there's different categories of scholarships. A lot of students think you just have to have a good GPA to be eligible for them, but you don't. And so those websites are a great way, especially Unigo, that I tell a lot of students to go to. They break it down based on whether it's your race or ethnicity, what year you are, whether it's leadership, career. So there's lots of different categories. And it's great for students.
Now, you need to slow down there. Steven's writing all this down, I noticed.
I'm ripping off pages
because of those 6 kids he has.
Well, it's only 3, and my oldest is a junior in high school, so this is a very relevant topic.
By the end of the show, he's going to admit he has 6.
No, I won't. So, and one of the little side questions, obviously, we're Gwinnett Business Radio. We're here in the state of Georgia. Georgia has a pretty good website that kind of, a lot of states have good websites? Is that a good starting point?
Yes, and they'll be tailored to that state.
So the best starting point is actually go out there and find what might be available for you to even apply for. Because I think some people, I know you've heard the statistic that there's a lot of scholarship money that goes unclaimed.
Yes.
And is that because people just are not willing to put in the legwork?
I think so. And also, I think it's that misconception, again, going back to a lot of students think you have to have a good GPA to be eligible for that scholarship. And also, one of the major hurdles is students don't like to fill out the essay component. A lot of scholarships involve an essay, and a lot of students just don't feel like writing it, whether it's, 500 words, 1,000 words. I just came across one of those 1,500 words you have to write. So a lot of students just don't feel like putting that work in. But what we, at the Student Navigator, we really work with students, having them identify, okay, like you need to look ahead and realize it's the pain of filling out that scholarship essay worth the pain of having the loans after graduation.
How much is the scholarship worth, and divide it by the number of words? You're getting paid X amount of dollars for each word you write.
Right. That's a great way to look at it. Yes.
Thank you. You can use that. Totally trademark free. I was a history major in college, and I had to do a senior thesis. My history prof, when I asked her, how many pages is it supposed to be? She goes, Stephen, just recognize I can do a 10-page grocery list. So make sure it's a thorough examination of the subject. And I went, okay, it's got to be more than 10 pages at least. So now, let's get off scholarships for just a second.
Sure.
What would be the next proactive step? Because I think you mentioned things like internships. So you can go to that topic or any other topic you want. Beyond scholarships, what else are you helping people with?
Yes, internships is I look at it as a hidden jewel of internships, which is paid internships. A lot of them will pay you thousands of dollars to do an internship, maybe as short as the summer, maybe 8 to 10 weeks. And so that's a great way for students to, at least have maybe their tuition paid for, or maybe, a big chunk of their room and board covered. So I would definitely encourage students to start looking into paid internships. Usually it's those major universities. A lot of them will offer them. Usually, and you don't have to be a student at that university. So it's a great way for students even to experience being away from home. I, for one, did several where one in particular was in California. They flew me out to California, covered my room and board there, covered my transportation stay, and cover a stipend. So it's great for students.
You've done like 3 double takes during her answer just now.
Well, the not being a student there is amazing. I mean, yes. So that's so you can even do that while you're in high school, potentially.
Yes, there's some universities that will offer programs for high school students too.
Wow.
And I've seen it. Yeah.
To play devil's advocate, what separates you? What makes you different from a high school or a college counselor?
Yes, that's a great question. I always go back to the fact that, I've lived it and have done it. So I have that unique perspective, and also our team has as well. So we have that unique perspective that, college and career counselors might not have. So.
What about those ones with the silver spoon in their mouth right now? Maybe a little upper income. I don't need a lease for any.
Well, not just that. Not I don't need it, but I can't get it because I'm not lower income or thinking in that respect, right? I mean that's part of it.
Right. Yes. We actually I'm actually working with a student right now, and her parents make over $120,000 a year. And a lot of parents, they think they're not eligible for it. Again, going back to why they don't apply for scholarships, because they think their parents make too much. Need-based is just one fraction of the type of scholarships that are out there. There's other ones that don't even look at your income, or it might be need-based, but it's more so they ask you, why do you need the scholarship, and not necessarily what's your income.
So we're speaking with Elease Dillard, and we're having so much fun asking so many questions. I just want to remind everybody, Elease is with the Student Navigator. Let me go back to scholarships for just a half second.
Yes.
You gave some great websites. Mm-hmm. Are there also some places to be avoided? Is there some red flags where people should go, wait a minute, they just want my money. They're not really going to help me with scholarships.
Yes, that's something that we do share with our students. Some areas of red flags will be one, if you're looking at a scholarship and they don't have like information, like a great place for you to contact information for you to reach out to them, that's a red flag. If they ask you for key information like your social security number, your driver's license number, any of that before the scholarship, oftentimes that's a red flag. Usually after you win the scholarship, they might ask for your photo, or during the application process, they might ask for your photo. So if you win, they'll post it on their blog and promote you. But if they're asking for that information ahead of time, that's a red flag. They'll ask some of your information after you win, of course, to give you that money, to know where to send it, to know what college you go to deposit it into your college account. But those are some red flags. Also, those no essay scholarships. A lot of students gravitate towards those because, again, they don't like to write that essay. But sometimes it's just, those in sweepstakes, not saying that all of them are bad because they're not, but those are just ones to be really careful for because they'll just ask for your information and you feel like you apply for the scholarship and, they might just be asking for your information.
So I was interested. Now I'm going to put you back on the internships for
I feel like you're on the firing squad. We're just coming at you with all these questions.
I love it. Bring it.
Okay. So in terms of the internships, you were talking about them through the universities. Is that the only kind of internships, or are there opportunities with companies as well?
Yes, companies as well, from major corporations to, small businesses.
And is that more of the student should be proactive in research and kind of, I want to look at these things and kind of reach out themselves? There's not necessarily a website they can go to, internships.com. I mean,
there is actually internships.com.
All right. That's fantastic. But
it's 2017, Stephen. There's a website for everything.
Website. What is this website we speak of? I'll get my 28.8 modem and dial up and get on my America Online account. So internships.com. So there are some websites, but is that, I guess, is there more success if you can really kind of tailor and kind of approach the company yourself? Companies, you find the right company who goes, wow, look at this go-getter, look at this 18-year-old, 17-year-old, 19-year-old person, and they kind of take a chance with them. Yes,
you're exactly right. That happened exactly to me. And I share students that same thing where I encourage students to go and network. One way that I acquired an internship in college was I would go down to Atlanta and I would find different networking groups. And I would just go maybe once a month, every other month, but usually, or not every month, every other week. And oftentimes you're one of the youngest in the room. And one gentleman, he came to me, he was a business owner, and he was just very impressed that I was that young and take that initiative, and he offered me an internship. But not just sharing my story, but I encourage other students to do that too. There's a great network within Gwinnett County called Gwinnett Young Professionals. That's a great place. So there's different areas for students to network. Also, just look at your personal network. Talk to your parents, talk to your professors. They are a great wealth of information. And even if they don't know of an organization around the top of their head, they can look into it.
Well, and let's call a spade a spade. I mean, for the companies, a lot of times this is a win for them because they get good work at a lower. I mean, usually it's a reduced rate, right? I mean, it's a specific period of time. They might help with a specific project, and they can pay them probably less than they would if they had, if they got somebody with a resume and all that. So it's a win-win. You get money for college, and they get some work done.
Yep.
I like it.
Take a breath, Stephen.
All right. Now I have one.
See how passionate he is? You're telling me this is a guy that doesn't have 6 kids getting ready to go to college? My God.
3,
let her take a breath.
All right. Now I've got the trap question for you.
Okay.
How does the Student Navigator make money?
It is a paid service. So we do have different programs available based on the student. So the first thing we do is we offer complimentary consultations where we meet with the student or the student and the parent, depending if the parent wants to join. And we work with them to see where they are in the process and how we can best work with them moving forward. And so based off of that, we have different services that will apply to them. We have different mentor programs for as long as 6 months to one-time sessions to 3 months. So it really just depends on the student if they want their hand held versus if they're more like independent go-getter. So
part of what depending on the level of service they offer, one of your things you might be paid for is to go, yes, write that essay. Yes, right. It's okay. Keep writing. It's okay. I mean,
it's accountability.
Yeah, right. Okay.
If a student uses your service, is there a guarantee that they'll get funding?
No. And a lot of students think that. No, you don't. And we don't have any connection with any selection committee for any scholarship or internship or school program. We just provide the strategy. We also offer proofreading and review services. So we work with the student to make sure their essays organized, grammar, making sure they're really communicating the best version of themselves through the application essay. but we have no, hand in the selection process.
Do you guys offer, so you're talking about working with individuals. Do you guys offer any services if there are, leaders at different schools, high school leaders, principals, if people are hearing this interview and want to bring you in, is there an opportunity that, in other words, you can bring your message to a room full of people and that's a one-time consultation, right? Yes.
And we do different speaking engagements across, the state. So we do workshops. We've been invited for leadership academies. We've done keynote speaking engagements, seminars, panels. You think of it, we've probably done it. We name it, we do it.
What would you say to that person out there that's listening to this interview and they're going, oh my God, this sounds great. Where was she 3 years ago? And now I have got all these loans and everything. Is there anything you could do for the person that already has some loans?
It depends on where they are in their place, their education. If they've already graduated and they have the loans, we are not a debt reduction or debt settlement service. So if you have the loans, unfortunately, we cannot erase those loans. There are some.
But if they're a freshman in college, maybe.
Yes. So if you are still in school, we can work with you now moving forward. But essentially, if you're really zealous about applying for scholarships and you win enough money where maybe you have a surplus, you could use that and save that towards your student loans later, depending on where you are. So there's different ways that you could still use that. We could help you towards attacking your loans from that respect.
So I'm going to go back to you're helping individuals. You've talked about proofreading. You've talked about consultation. You talked about, for your own story, there was networking. There was opportunity.
Yes.
It is, and you guys can't guarantee, again, you can't guarantee placement in a particular scholarship, but I guess part of this is just kind of helping them develop a plan.
Yes.
Part of this is helping them implement a plan.
Yes.
Do you have stories of where you've been able to go and, kind of somebody I knew or a networking group I knew of, and you guys are keeping track of things and you kind of help people find, the right connection and the right relationship?
Can you share a success story?
Yeah.
That's what he's trying to ask.
Okay, sure.
Sorry, in this show of long questions.
Yes. Share a success story, please.
Yes. So we do have a student that we've been working with, and right now she is a senior in college and she's debt-free so far, has not had to take out any loans. So that's our biggest success story.
It's worth having a conversation. I mean, everybody listening who has a kid getting ready to go to college or they just entered college needs to have a conversation with you.
And I know you say debt-free is the status quo, but even if they, get out with a third of the debt they were going to have, I mean, that's a success too, right?
It is, yeah.
Any scholarship you get, any amount of money, going that extra year, getting into master's programs.
All right. For those that would like to find out more and look into your services, where can they get all this great information?
Yes. So the Student Navigator website is thestudentnavigator.com. I also have recently released a book called Funding College Debt Free. So you, again, were asking about, the step-by-step process. That's what I wrote that book for, as a guide. Step by step. It has areas for the student to pause and take action. So it's really a great resource for students and parents. You can find more information about that on the Student Navigator website, thestudentnavigator.com/resources. It's available on Amazon as well.
Congratulations, at least, because I've never seen Steven take more notes with any guest than he has with you.
Thank you.
I mean, do you need another pen? I think you've run out of ink over there.
I'm good. Just ready to go get a book. I know that.
Thank you. 6 kids. All right. I want to thank Elease Dillard with the Student Navigator. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right. A reminder, you can listen to this show or any of our other episodes anytime by going to GwinnettBusinessRadioX.com. Also, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook, and also subscribe to us on iTunes.
Before we finish the show, Mike, I want to remind our listeners that if any of them are business owners or business leaders, and they might be tired of being frustrated and stressed with administrative tasks in your business, then you need to contact Proactive Payroll, because Proactive Payroll rocks payroll and provides relief. They handle your payroll needs simply and efficiently, allowing you more time to work on growing your business. They handle tax reporting and payments, direct deposits, benefit and worker comp reporting, and more. They don't just process payrolls, they build relationships. Visit proactivepayroll.rocks or call 404-410-0031.
Great job. What's 5 plus 1?
6.
4 plus 2?
6.
3 plus 3?
6.
How many kids do you have?
3.
All right. For Trey, I'm Mike. He's Steven. We'll see you next time here on Gwinnett Business Radio.
Actually 4, because you're my 4th kid.